So I wonder how you got on with our 12 Christmas quiz questions, some of them quite tricky. The first of them was indeed all about that famous Christmas hymn. Charles Wesley wrote the words, but what not many people know is that the first line originally ran, "Hark how all the welkin rings, glory to the King of Kings." And it was altered by his friend and fellow evangelist George Whitefield into the familiar version we all know as "Hark the herald angels sing." And the welkin is an archaic poetic word for the vault of heaven. So what the words are really saying is, hark how the vault of heaven resounds with glory to the King of Kings. So our second question, Bach, why did he begin his Christmas oratorio with timpani strokes? They just go like this. Well, you could say that it's just because he wanted to convey an idea of rejoicing or to make people sit up and listen, but there's more to it than that. Thing is, when he was pushed for time, he often recycled music that he had written earlier, and that's very much the case with the Christmas oratorio, because the first chorus of it derives from a secular cantata he wrote in 1733. It's number 214, and it was to celebrate the birthday of the Electress. Well, the line with which the text originally began was "Turnet ihr Pauken," loud let the drums beat. And when it came to recycling it with sacred words a few years after that, he decided that the words that would fit are "Jauchzet frohlocket," which is just saying rejoice. So no reference to kettle drums beating, but it stays there in the music. And that's, I think, why it begins as it did. Well, the third question, where the sun is shining, the grass is green, the orange and palm trees sway, there's never been such a day in Beverly Hills, LA. It maybe would have been easier if I'd also read you the next two lines, but it's December the 24th and I'm longing to be up north. And lo and behold, we get the famous refrain, "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." Irving Berlin, and it is surely one of the classic Christmas songs of all time, but that opening verse is rather rarely recorded. The fourth question, which English composer turned the ploughboy's dream into a famous Christmas hymn? Well, the answer is Ralph Vaughan Williams, and you might possibly have guessed that because ploughboy suggests something rural, and of course Vaughan Williams loved to go around collecting folk songs, and it was actually Cecil Sharp who collected this one, and it goes like this. I am a ploughboy stout and strong, as ever drove a team, and 3 years hence asleep in bed, I had a dreadful dream. I think I won't continue, but that gives you the idea. But that was turned into a little town of Bethlehem. Vaughan Williams gave it the name of Forest Green, which was the village where he collected it. So to our fifth question, in Ding Dong Merrily on High, what does it mean when in verse 2, priest and people sing E-O, E-O, E-O? Well, medieval priests would have used Latin, and EO was a recognised abbreviation for jubilo, the first person singular of the Latin verb jubilare, to rejoice. So EO means I rejoice, I rejoice. The words to Ding Dong Merrily on High were written by an antiquarian clergyman called G.R. Woodward, and I think he rather liked the idea of harking back to the Middle Ages. Number 6. Which drinking song from the Beggar's Opera of 1728, with only minor alterations, became a well-loved Christmas carol? It's this one. glass for wine, it fires and inspires us with courage, love and joy, which became Quelle c'est odeur agréable, berger qui ravit tous nos sens. Quelle est cette odeur agréable? And they're really not very different. The first note's different, but you can tell that they are the same tune, essentially. And I do not know how a hearty drinking song became a reverent and rather lovely carol. The seventh question, 3 carol openings. The first of them was this. And the second of them was this. And the third of them was this. Well, what they share in common is that they're all settings of the same lovely medieval text. There is no rose of such virtue as is the rose that bare Jesu. The first of those settings, we don't know who the composer is. It's 15th century, it's anonymous, one of those lovely early English carols. And that particular one is preserved in a priceless roll of musical manuscript in the library of Trinity College, Cambridge. The second of the 2 openings is Benjamin Britten's setting, There Is No Rose, from his famous Ceremony of Carols. And the third one, perhaps not quite so well known, is by the composer John Joubert. So, they share in common that they all set the same text. Number 8 was another question about what do these examples share in common. And it was Orlando Gibbons, Christopher Tye, Robert Teare and Brian Kay. What musical experience did they share in common? And it is, of course, that they were all at different times members of the choir of King's College, Cambridge. Our 9th question also had a relevance to King's College, Cambridge, and the question was, over the years there have been new carols commissioned each year by the college for the choir to sing on Christmas Eve, and I was wondering what's the shortest of these carols among the almost 40 commissions that there have been. Well, I gave a clue. I said, think of a composer who was economical with the notes. Arvo Pärt, the Estonian composer, and the carol that he wrote for Christmas Eve 1990 was called Bogorodice Dievo. It's an Ave Maria, a carol of the Annunciation, and it clocks in at 1 minute 14 seconds. I hope that the college felt that they'd got their money's worth. It is actually a lovely carol. Number 10, the who am I question, and I'm an American of Swedish descent who spent World War II decoding enemy communications. I then went on to a successful career writing orchestral music, and here was a massive clue. In one of my pieces, a typewriter got included. And among my other orchestral compositions was, well, it was a famous sleigh ride, and I am Leroy Anderson. Number 11, I played this Christmas hymn. Well, easy question, what is it? Joy to the World. And the composer was a 19th century American called Lowell Mason, who wrote quite a number of hymn tunes. In fact, it's not absolutely certain he was the composer, but he did publish that tune and said at the time that it was inspired by Handel. And the question here was, which piece of Handel was it inspired by? We can't be absolutely certain, but it's almost certain, I would say, that it was this piece from Messiah. Lift up your heads. Really, it's only the first 4 notes, but, well, that can be enough to get a fine tune going. So, joy to the world. And finally, the 12th question, which is familiar to quite a few arithmetic classes in schools around Christmas time. And it was this: over the whole of the 12 days of Christmas, how many gifts in total did my true love give to me? And the answer is 364. You have to remember that on each day of Christmas, you get another dose of all the gifts that you have previously received over again, as well as the new gifts for the day. Interesting that it adds up to just 1 day short of the full year of 365 days. That may be coincidence, or it may be that you would not give a gift on Good Friday, a very solemn day in the Christian calendar. So, there they are, your answers. I hope that you enjoyed doing a little bit of research, pursuing those answers if that's what you needed to do. If you knew all of them, then that's absolutely brilliant, and I hope you will be among the first 5 all correct entries that we pull out of a hat, so that you will get your prize of a king-size box of handmade chocolates and a bottle of finest champagne. Merry Christmas.